Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. As you know, today the music industry and fans alike are all mourning the tragic death of Angie Stone, and we here at The Source want to send out our heartfelt condolences to Angie's family and say R.I.P. to the musical legend who really didn't get all of the flowers and recognition that she deserved with regard to the contributions that she made to hip-hop, R&B, neo-soul, and cinema while she was here on this earth. So, in honor of Angie, we wanted to replay this podcast episode which really pays tribute to the life and legacy of Angie Stone.
Tonight, the music industry is mourning the loss of Grammy-nominated rhythm and blues artist Angie Stone. Her publicist announced the singer died in a crash in Montgomery, Alabama this morning. Stone had just wrapped up a concert last night. She was heading to Georgia when that crash happened. Highway Patrol told the Associated Press she was in a Sprinter van with several other people when that van was hit by a truck driver. Tonight, no update on the other people's conditions. As for Stone, her career spanned decades, best known for hits like No More Rain and Wish I Didn't Miss You. Stone was 63 years old.
All right, so we're diving deep today into the life and career of Angie Stone.
Yeah.
A true icon we lost way too soon.
Yeah.
March 1st.
It's hard to believe.
Just a gut punch, really, to the music world. But we're going to celebrate her life and her legacy. And we're doing this deep dive with a bunch of sources, kind of a mix. We got news reports, biographical articles, even some snippets from a TV show that did like a whole retrospective on legends of music.
Yeah.
And Angie was featured.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wonderful source material to work with.
So strap in, everybody.
Yeah.
From pioneer female rapper, I mean, she started so young, to this incredible solo artist with like a 2-decade career. Her story is one we're going to savor today.
It's going to be good. Lots of twists and turns.
Yeah.
You know, starting all the way back in the late 70s with the Sequence.
Angie B.
Angie B, yeah. And just imagine the music scene then, late 70s, hip-hop is exploding.
Right.
But it is a very male-dominated space.
Right.
And then come these 3 young women, straight out of South Carolina, and they're not just rapping, they are writing their own rhymes.
Wow. I feel like that's unusual for the time, right? Like, were many groups back then, especially female groups, writing their own material?
It was bold.
Yeah.
They were creators, shaping their own narrative.
Yeah.
And their talent, it didn't go unnoticed.
Right.
They got signed.
Oh, wow.
By Sugar Hill Records.
Okay, hold on. Sugar Hill, like the label, the legendary label?
The legendary label. The label that launched so many hip-hop giants. I'm talking Sugar Hill Gang, Grandmaster Flash.
This is like the big leagues.
The big leagues.
For a young group, that's got to be like a complete game changer.
Absolutely. And so 1979 rolls around, their single Funk You Up drops.
Okay.
And it climbs the R&B charts, becomes a genuine hit.
The Sequence. The Sequence were a trio of friends from Columbia, South Carolina, who were singers and cheerleaders. After hearing King Tim III by the Fatback Band in 1979, they decided to add rapping to their repertoire. Cheryl the Pearl, Blondie, and Angie B called themselves The Sequence because everything about them ran in a sequence. Angie was 5'2", Cheryl was 5'3", and Blondie was 5'4". And on October 20th, Blondie turned 20. On November 19th, Cheryl turned 19, and on December 18th, Angie turned 18. When the Sugar Hill Gang came to Township Auditorium in Columbia, South Carolina to perform in October of 1979, the Sequence were able to make their way backstage and audition for Sylvia Robinson, the founder and CEO of Sugar Hill Records. Sylvia was impressed and called the girls within a week to come to New Jersey and record. 1979's Funk You Up would simultaneously make them the first female rap group to make a record and the first rap group ever from the South to make a rap record. Angie B would marry her label mate, Little Rodney C from the Funky 4+1, whose name was actually Rodney Stone. Angie Stone would become a powerful force in a new genre called neo-soul, and the lead singer of a group called Vertical Hold. As a solo singer and writer, Angie Stone would take the world by storm.
I mean, think about it. That track, Funk You Up, later gets sampled by huge artists like Bruno Mars, Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Talk about leaving a mark on musical history.
No kidding.
That's wild.
But, you know, their time at Sugar Hill wasn't without some bumps.
Right.
Some controversy.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah.
I'd read about some disputes over songwriting credits.
Absolutely.
What was that about?
Angie, she was always very vocal about the Sequence's contributions to two of Sugar Hill Gang's biggest hits.
Which ones?
Apache, Jump on It, and Eighth Wonder.
Oh, okay.
Huge songs.
Yeah.
And she always maintained that they, the Sequence, played a big role in writing those songs, but they weren't credited.
A lot of people don't know this, but Sequence wrote Apache for Sugar Hill Gang.
Wow.
It's a messy issue,
Yeah.
and it reflects some of the challenges that artists, especially women, faced, getting recognition for their creative work.
Yeah. Makes you think. Like, always look deeper into the stories behind the music.
Right.
Acknowledge those who may not have gotten the spotlight they deserved.
Yeah.
After 40-something years in the business, I'm like, well, why? Where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties, all my mechanicals. They've taken pretty much everything. They've stolen, I won't say stolen, but they have taken all the monies that were due to me. They have basically absorbed in that company. And even though there's several class action lawsuits, people that were working on my behalf never even registered the songs, all the songs that I've done. I'm only coming to find out they were not properly registered by the companies that I signed over to. People that were supposed to do their due diligence. So I'm truly a walking testimony that God has carried me all this time, because if you only knew how much money they have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me, monies that I'm supposed to be, I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made, supposedly. But there are key people. I have to give up my coins. And so what I'm doing now is whatever is necessary to make sure they pay me for the legacy of my life, for my children and my grandchildren. They're going to have to give me my money. I mean, when you sit back and think Bruno Mars, Dr. Dre, when you think about all these people that have sampled music, if they're filthy rich on it, what's our problem? Or my problem? I have to give up my coins. And so what I'm doing now is whatever is necessary to make sure they pay me.
That's tough to hear.
It is, especially from someone like Angie Stone. And that video really kind of shines a light on this problem that a lot of artists face.
Oh, absolutely. The whole royalty system is so complex.
Right.
It's hard enough for artists to understand it, let alone actually make sure they're getting what they're owed.
Especially if you're signing contracts early in your career.
Exactly. You're young. You don't necessarily have the experience or the legal knowledge to negotiate those deals properly.
So can we break this down for folks who might not know? How do royalties even work?
So basically you have a song, right? And every time it gets played, streamed, used in a TV show or a movie, we're supposed to get paid.
Yeah.
You have different kinds of mechanical royalties for the composition performance royalties for when it's played publicly. But the music industry with digital and streaming and all that, it's made tracking all these royalties so much more complicated.
So it's not just about how many times your song gets played.
No, not at all. It's about making sure those plays are actually counted and making sure the money goes to the right people.
Okay.
And like I said, a lot of artists, they sign contracts before all this digital stuff existed.
Yeah.
And those contracts might not be favorable. The label might be taking a huge chunk of the royalties.
And then you add in that power dynamic between artists and labels.
Oh yeah, huge power imbalance there.
Angie even said in the video that she felt like people weren't doing their due diligence, like her work wasn't even registered properly.
Right, and that's so crucial, copyright and registration.
Yeah.
It's how artists protect their work and their income.
If you don't register it, how do you even prove it's yours?
Exactly.
And it makes you think about all those class action lawsuits we've seen against labels.
Oh yeah.
Like the one Eminem's producers filed against Universal a few years back.
Right, where they argued artists were getting underpaid for digital downloads.
And they actually got a huge settlement in that case, right?
Yeah. Could set a precedent for how digital royalties are calculated moving forward.
So it's a big issue. And what's really crazy is we're talking about Angie Stone here.
A legend.
So the Sequence, they eventually disband in 85. Where does Angie's musical journey take her after that?
Well, she definitely didn't slow down.
Like-
There's this amazing period where her musicality really expands. She works with the electro-funk group Mantronix,
Oh, wow.
and then becomes the lead singer of this R&B trio
Okay.
called Vertical Hold.
Vertical Hold.
They released 2 albums,
All right.
and they have this popular single,
Okay.
Seems You're Much Too Busy.
Ooh. I remember that song. There's a rawness to it. A lot of emotion. Was that around the time where her personal life kind of started to weave its way more into her music?
You're picking up on something really important there
Yeah.
about Angie's work.
Okay.
She had this ability to channel her own experiences, the joys, the heartbreaks, the struggles, into her music,
Right.
making it so relatable and powerful.
Yeah.
Seems You're Much Too Busy. Yeah, that's a great example of that.
It makes me wonder if that's what drew her to collaborate with D'Angelo. I mean, their partnership, legendary, right?
Legendary.
Yeah.
They met in the mid-90s,
Okay.
and their connection, it went beyond just music.
Right.
They fell in love,
Okay.
had a son, Michael,
Oh.
and their creative energy, it just flowed. Angie contributed significantly to D'Angelo's groundbreaking albums, Brown Sugar and Voodoo. Adding these layers of soulfulness and depth, that became like his sound.
So amazing.
He was the love of my life. I'm not ashamed of it. I'll tell anybody, when you find true love, it's undeniable. You can't deny true love. And at the time when we fell in love, it was definitely, a love that I had never experienced before. When we lost that love, it was almost like a death happened. It was very hard, but because I'm, like I said, a child of the Creator, I stomached it pretty well and got on through. But yeah, it has been hard to find another love to equal that love.
Even though their romantic relationship, it didn't last, their creative partnership yielded some truly beautiful work.
Yeah.
Like that song, Send It On.
Yeah.
Which they wrote for their son.
Yeah, it speaks volumes about their ability to transform personal experiences into art.
Yeah.
You can hear the love, the tenderness, the anxieties of new parenthood woven into the fabric of that song.
And all of this while Angie's building toward her solo career.
Yeah.
Which is where she really blossoms, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
It's in her solo work that we see her really come into her own, finding her voice.
Right.
Captivating audiences with this unique blend of R&B, soul, a touch of hip-hop edge.
I remember when Black Diamond dropped.
Yes.
1999, her debut solo album with Arista Records. Huge hit. And she dedicated it to her daughter Diamond. Was Black Diamond, was that the moment, the turning point where she's established as a force to be reckoned with in this neo-soul movement?
It absolutely played a key role. It was critically acclaimed, reached the top 10 on the R&B charts, went gold. The lead single, No More Rain in This Cloud, became a signature Angie Stone anthem.
What was it about that song, or Black Diamond as a whole, that resonated so strongly?
I think it was a combination of things. First, Angie's voice, powerful, soulful, full of emotion. It just drew you in. And then the lyrics, honest, vulnerable, relatable. She was singing about real life, love, loss, heartbreak, resilience, things everyone can connect with. And musically, the album had this perfect blend of classic soul, contemporary R&B, a touch of hip-hop influence. It made it feel both familiar and fresh.
So she had this incredible ability to bridge the gap between generations, genres, creating music that felt both timeless and totally of the moment.
Exactly, and that's a rare talent. And that momentum, it just kept building.
Yeah.
Her second album, Mahogany Soul.
2001.
2001, yeah. She followed Clive Davis over to his new label, J Records.
Yeah. And didn't that album really cement her status as a neo-soul queen?
Oh, absolutely. It hit number 22 on the Billboard 200, and then Wish I Didn't Miss You.
Huge.
Massive crossover hit.
Memories don't live like people do. Stay forever, me and you. Wish you'd bring back, man, I knew that was good to me. Every time you say you're coming, boy, you disappoint me, honey. How you forgot when you were down that I was around.
topped the dance charts.
Mahogany Soul, it's considered such a classic, even beyond that one huge hit. What is it about that album that made such an impact, especially within the neo soul movement?
There's a warmth to it, a richness that goes beyond just the catchy melodies.
Okay.
It's deeply rooted in that classic soul, but with a modern sensibility.
Right.
The production is lush, live instrumentation, intricate arrangements, and Angie's voice, it just soars, conveying every ounce of emotion in those lyrics.
And those lyrics, man, so honest, so raw, dealing with love, heartbreak, but also self-love and resilience.
Exactly. And I think that authenticity is what resonated with so many, especially within the neo soul movement.
Right.
It was about real experiences told through this soulful lens. And there was a vulnerability there that just made Angie so relatable.
And she kept going. She released more critically acclaimed albums.
Oh, yeah.
Stone Love, The Art of Love and War.
Yeah.
Collaborating with all sorts of artists.
From Snoop Dogg to Betty Wright.
Wow, that's a range.
She had this real gift for connecting with other artists, bringing out the best in those collaborations.
Yeah.
Her willingness to experiment, to blend genres, to push boundaries, it kept her music fresh and exciting.
It seems like that creative energy just flowed into so many different avenues.
Yeah.
I mean, besides music, she also acted.
Yes.
Movies like The Hot Chick, The Fighting Temptations.
And let's not forget reality TV, Celebrity Fit Club.
Oh, yeah. She even mentored young artists on TV One's R&B Divas,
Yeah.
showing this whole other side of herself.
So multi-talented.
Yeah.
And just embracing every opportunity to share those gifts.
Right.
Whether it was singing, acting, mentoring, she brought her authentic self to everything.
And through it all, her music remained a constant, reflecting her heart, her soul, her experiences, her strength. Before we talk about her tragic passing, I want to touch on her impact on the music world.
It's undeniable.
Yeah.
She was a trailblazer for women in hip-hop, a driving force in the neo-soul movement, and an inspiration to countless artists across genres.
Three-time Grammy nominee, had a #1 hit on the Billboard Gospel Airplay chart just last year with her guest appearance on Damon Little's No Stressing.
It's incredible. Her music truly transcended genres.
Yeah.
It spoke to something universal about the human experience.
Whether she was singing about love, heartbreak, resilience, faith, her voice, it just had this incredible ability to connect with our raw emotions.
She was a storyteller, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Her songs felt like intimate conversations, sharing her joys, her struggles, her wisdom with the world, and that vulnerability, that rawness, that's what made her such a powerful and enduring artist.
It's hard to believe that such a vibrant voice has been silenced. The news of her passing on March 1st, it was devastating.
It was.
Just hours after performing in Alabama. She was killed in a car accident.
Terrible.
Traveling with 9 of her bandmates when their van was hit by an 18-wheeler truck.
It's a tragic loss for the music world.
Yeah.
And for everyone who knew and loved her. Her daughter, Diamond Stone, she shared the heartbreaking news on Facebook, asking for prayers for her family.
And her son, Michael D'Angelo Archer II, whom she shared with D'Angelo, he hasn't spoken publicly yet.
Yeah.
Just unimaginable the pain they must be going through.
I can't even imagine.
The outpouring of grief from fans and fellow artists on social media has been overwhelming. It speaks volumes about the impact Angie had on so many lives.
It really does. She was more than just a singer.
Yeah.
She was a role model, a mentor, a voice for Black women, a true icon.
Her representative, Deborah R. Champagne, she confirmed she had spoken to Angie the night before the accident.
Oh, wow.
And described the news as rocking and devastating to friends and family.
Wow.
Mark Green, who worked with Angie for decades, he expressed his shock and heartbreak. And he also talked about how underappreciated she was by the industry, despite her immense talent and impact.
Yeah.
It's a reminder
It is.
to cherish the artists we love while they're here, to celebrate their contributions to the world.
Absolutely. Angie's legacy will undoubtedly live on through her music, inspiring and uplifting generations to come.
You down for whatever, chillin' on the corner. Talented brother, and to every one of y'all behind bars, you know that Angie brother, I know I never tried, said I want you to know that I'm giving you up.
As we process this loss, it's hard not to think about all the music she still had left to create. all the stories she had yet to share.
It really underscores the preciousness of life and its unpredictability.
Yeah.
And it reminds us not to take our time here for granted.
Angie Stone's journey was one of perseverance, creativity, and an unwavering passion for music.
Absolutely.
She was a trailblazer, a soul survivor, and a true inspiration.
To us all.
While her physical presence is gone, her spirit, her voice, and her music will continue to touch our hearts and souls
for generations to come.
Angie Stone's passing, it's a profound loss. But let's remember her not for the tragedy of her death, but for the triumph of her life.
A life dedicated to her craft, to her family, and to sharing her extraordinary gift with the world.
It's remarkable, her journey, from those early days with the sequence, pushing boundaries in such a male-dominated genre, to her solo work that was so deeply personal and touched so many.
Yeah.
Her dedication to her craft, it never wavered.
Never.
It's hard to imagine R&B and neo-soul without her contributions. She brought a raw honesty, vulnerability, and a depth of emotion that just resonated with listeners on such a personal level.
She did. And, as we've been talking about her life and her career, I keep coming back to this idea of resilience.
Oh, interesting.
From navigating the challenges of the industry, being a young Black woman, to pouring her heartbreaks and her triumphs into her music, she always found a way to rise above.
Yeah, resilience, it's like woven into the fabric of her music.
It is.
Like no more rain in this cloud. Yeah, it's a song about finding strength and hope even in the midst of pain. It's an anthem for anyone who's faced adversity and come out stronger.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why her music's going to continue to resonate for generations to come. She gave voice to those universal experiences of love, loss, heartbreak, and hope in a way that felt so authentic, so relatable.
Her music wasn't just entertainment, it was a source of comfort, inspiration, connection.
It was. I mean, she started singing at 11 years old in church, not on a stage or anything.
Wow.
Yeah. That's got to be a strong foundation, right?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And, we have this interview with her and she's really open in it, really open about her whole faith journey, even the hard parts.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, right off the bat, she talks about walking with blind faith and how God comes first no matter what, even with all the stuff in the music industry.
Yeah, and she even talks about some pushback she's gotten from music executives.
Well, my faith journey goes way, way back to First Nazareth Baptist Church when I started singing in church. I was 11 years old. I had learned to seek God first. Before anything and all things, I put him first, second, third, and behind me. The reason I say that is because I know you cannot walk the earth without being covered, completely spiritually covered, because of who you are and who you belong to. You're constantly under attack, and being in the limelight, and especially when you carry something as powerful as the word with you, you're constantly under attack. So had I not been focused on the protector, provider, the creator, I probably would have been assassinated a long time ago, because the enemy doesn't play fair. So my faith walk is that one of an incredible one. It is completely about faith in God, because ain't nothing out here to chance. We can't see every corner. We can't see every block. We can't see every hole in the wall. But what we do see is the light, and the light of Christ is the thing that lives within me. I fear nothing, because I know he's always guarding me.
Do you think that there's a lack of people within the industries, in your experience, who stand out and be bold like you to speak about, their spiritual beliefs and their faith because they feel like it's going to hurt their brand?
Absolutely. I think people are embarrassed. I think a lot of people don't want to be associated with the Jesus speaks or the God word, talking about God all the time. A lot of people are embarrassed, quite honestly, and I like to fill that void, because embarrassed, are you serious? What's going to be embarrassing is when it's time for you to get through them gates and God ignores you that way and he looks the other way. What's going to be shame is everybody that you saw will see you standing at the back of the line, can't get in because you were shamed. So, I'm at the place where if God has blessed you with a successful career, it is your responsibility, your duty to shout the name of Christ, to shout the goodness of God, to get out there and set an example that says, this is who I am and this is who I belong to. That way, people won't mistake you for being in that sell your soul mess. I ain't with all of that. Because guess what? You can't take none of this stuff with you.
She said something else too that really stuck out to me. She She says how everyone is imperfect, but they can find healing through God. And she even gets a little personal and mentions some challenges in her relationships. And it really sounds like her faith helped her through it all.
For sure. It's a source of resilience for her.
Yeah.
And she connects that directly to God's protection. That's how she overcomes these obstacles.
It's like that trust, that blind faith gives her strength to face those tough times.
Exactly. It's not just theoretical, it's deeply personal.
Yeah, it's like not just a Sunday thing, it's every day.
It's woven into her life. Yeah.
And she even talks about ministering to Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The elevator, I will never forget it as long as I live. And Puffy came to me, first time, speaking to me as a decent human being. And he said, "Hey, Miss Stone." I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He said, "How are you?" I said, "I'm fine. I'm shocked you speaking to me." He said, "Miss Stone, would you please pray with me?" I said, "Well, of course." When he asked me to pray with him, I believe at that moment Puffy was terrified for his life. I think that he was afraid because all of the things that had gone out and about that party, they were singling him out, and I don't think that he thought he was going to survive it. And I was just happy that whenever he didn't speak to me, I knew he couldn't see me. But on this day, he saw the God in me, which was so not about me, but it was so about the spirit that I carried.
Just think about that.
I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah.
It speaks to the power of personal testimony.
Right.
Like, it's one thing to have faith, but to share it with others, that can have a real impact.
Yeah.
She's not just keeping it to herself, she wants to share it. Maybe she felt like Combs needed to hear it.
Yeah. Makes you wonder if that same desire to share her faith comes out in her music too. Did you notice anything when you were looking at her lyrics?
Absolutely. There are these themes of redemption, grace, overcoming adversity. You can see the influence. Not always super direct,
Right.
but it's there.
So we're seeing Angie Stone, right? An artist who is like rooted in her faith.
Yeah.
But also uses it to stay strong and for inspiration, both personally and creatively. It's inspiring to see her handle a world that isn't always, lined up with what she believes.
Totally. It's a powerful reminder. Like, how can we stay true to ourselves? How can we hold on to our own values when the world's pushing us in a different direction? And Angie Stone shows us that it's possible, that it can actually be a source of strength. It's definitely a challenge, but it can give you purpose. What do you think? What part of her story stuck with you the most?
I think for me, it was that blind faith idea. It's easy to talk about faith when things are good, but to have that level of trust, even when things are tough, that's really powerful. And I think it's something we can all learn from.
I think you're right. It's a powerful testament to her belief.
It really is.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Angie Stone's incredible life and legacy, I want to turn it over to you, our listener. What's your favorite Angie Stone song and why?
What lyric, what melody, what moment in her music speaks to you most deeply?
Share your thoughts, your memories, your appreciation for this extraordinary artist. Let's keep her music alive. Let's keep her spirit alive and let her legacy continue to inspire us all.
Angie Stone, a true diamond in the world of music, shining brightly forever.
He brought me through hard trials. He brought me through tribulations. Never let a day go by and I realized Just know that we are blessed and highly favored. Just know that we are blessed and highly favored. As I look back through the years, it's amazing how he kept me. What the devil meant for evil, God turned it around just for my good. I know that I am blessed and highly favored. Just know that we are blessed and highly favored.
Amen. Thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Peace.